everyone, it's Eric Court and Bethany Sparkle back to bring another exciting installment of The Lightning Rangers, The Beginning. This is Chapter 2, Video 3. There's a really cute dog right now, and you can't see him.
He's like pretty upset that I'm over here and not with him.
It's pretty upsetting for everyone. Okay, so this is the chapter The Creatures.
The creatures. Okay. Din looked at the small, frail planet of Earth with a seething rage. He had to destroy the Lightning Rangers, the chosen ones. If he could only destroy 2 small Earthlings, the universe was his.
Okay, yeah, I got Earthlings this time.
Not Earthlings.
Originality is out the window.
Hey, oh, sorry.
That's me.
That's you. You're right. Sorry.
Hail the mighty Din, the Distroyer, conqueror of worlds, destroyer of galaxies, slaver of species.
It's more like spaces.
Spaces.
A blob of gunk, Pronos, as he rolled up to Din.
My spies have discovered 2 things of great importance. 1. We have discovered the Chosen One's base. The Chosen Ones have built great war machines. They will destroy us if we are not careful. The other is, get out of my sight! All of you!
Din roared. The creatures scurried to obey.
Why? Why? Why do these Chosen Ones haunt my every dreams? I will destroy them, just as I destroyed their maker!
Chosen Ones, who want?
Who want?
On the moment, a lone person strolled across the planet. Eric, what does that mean?
Strolled is, well, you know how, like, snails and slugs move?
Mm-hmm.
That's strolled.
And they do it on a moment.
Yeah, on a moment. It's like a Time Lord, only a time stroller.
Sure. A planet most resinly destroyed by Din. Dink! Zip! Flink! David's brow furrowed deep in his forehead. Just like way in there.
Yeah.
He had a little more to do. He had found half-finished machines in a storeroom. He was now completing them. There was a griffin, a bat, a unicorn, and a snake. Why isn't the snake capitalized?
It's a snake. You don't want to give it too much importance because that's evil.
Okay.
Biblically speaking.
Crista was on the other side of the room, poring over some mathematical equations. You got equations right there. Not mathematical, but equations. She had homework. Just as David finished his project, the Syrian wailed. What is a Syrian?
It's like a siren, only a little less haunting.
Haunting. There was a monster in New York. Okay. David and Crista jumped in their flying creatures. David hit the power button on the control board. Then he pulled back on the throttle and hit the transport button. A few milliseconds later, they were on Earth nearing New York.
Very fast.
As they neared the giant city, they saw a huge black storm cloud. On it stood a green lightning bolt with evil black hollow eyes. Tell me more about this standing green lightning bolt.
Well, really you can't capture its essence without knowing that its eyes are both hollow and black.
Sure, but how is it standing?
Well, on feet.
So not so much a lightning bolt.
Well, it's lightning bolts with, feet.
Sure, okay. He held 2 lightning bolts, 2 yellow lightning bolts. Grinning wickedly, he hurled the bolts right at them. David turned his Griffian to the right, just barely missing the first bolt. Surprisingly, it turned and followed him. That is surprising.
It would be.
He realized it was a heat-seeking lightning bolt.
He shouldn't have made that machine so hot.
A well-known problem with lightning bolts. He hit his triple flip maneuver button, but he just couldn't lose it. Crista was having the same trouble. She glanced over at the green lightning bolt just as he threw 5 more bolts at her. Very rapid, just killing them.
I mean, if you got them, use them.
Where is he keeping them? Are they coming out of his body?
It's not important. You need to focus on dodging the lightning bolts already given to you.
Sure, but since we're not dodging lightning bolts...
I think we are because we're so immersed in the moment.
Oh, I see. My bad. She dodged as well as she could, but she heard a bang as all 5 bolts hit here. Hit here. Not her, but here. Where is here? Is here where her is?
Yes.
Oh, very good. Or not good. One moment she was in her bat, which no longer gets to be capitalized. Another, and she was falling alone in the sky, and the ground was getting closer very, very fast. She quickly started fiddling with her watch. Man, she thought, why didn't I pay more attention when David was explaining this stupid thing? Just as she was about to hit the ground, she pushed the right button at the right time. Fire blasted out of her boots as a boster landed her softly on the ground.
It's a combination between safely and softly using.
Yeah, I do. I see that. David was still in the air. He now had to lose 20 heat-sucking bolts. It's a lot. He pushed the flip button and went behind the bolts.
Yeah.
Okay, so the bolts are coming. He flips like over them. Yeah. Like goes behind. Got it. Quickly, he fired off his whirlwind and blew up 5 of the bolts. How do we blow up lightning? I'm a little...
No, they kind of...
Seems a little anticlimactic for blowing up, but okay. Unfortunately, he lost control and 15 bolts slammed into him.
Relatable.
He hit his transport button and transported to the control station with Crista. I feel like being hit by 15 lightning bolts might have like an impact.
No, because see, the war machines were very strong.
Okay. In the fiery fortress of Din the Distroyer, we've got his name down.
It was a mistake. That's the typo.
Din was very pleased.
My monster is doing wonderfully. He has already captured 2 of the great battle creatures. Soon I shall have them all, and then the earth will be mine!
Okay, but like he didn't capture them?
Well, he did. He got 2 of them, so now he just needs more. He gotta complete the set.
I see.
Yeah.
In the center of the cold, desolate planet, Plato, David and Crista were in deep thought. David was thinking of how he could destroy Thor.
He has a name now. He's got a name.
I see.
Is it lightning bolt?
Ah,
Thor.
the lightning bolt is Thor.
Yeah.
I see. How does David know his name?
I don't know. How does anyone ever know instantly the name of these creatures?
Well, usually it's because the magic computer tells them what the name is.
Well, David has a watch.
Okay. How he could beat something so powerful he didn't know. Also, who was sending all these monsters?
He has forgotten about Din the Distroyer.
Crista was thinking on how to do her homework.
Crista is all of us.
And save the world at the same time. This is a mood. It's true. Then the alarm pierced through the still silence of the room. David looked over at Crista. She had now fallen asleep, so not doing great with the homework at the same time.
Really just overwhelmed her. You have to take a nap.
He could probably do this alone, he figured. Let her sleep while she can. He quickly walked over and shut the alarm off. He must be sleeping very deeply. He typed in a couple buttons, and immediately a screen showed the Griffian and the bat destroying some of the city. He suddenly realized that he probably did need Crista. He woke her up and quickly told her to get in her land creature. Then they were off.
Wonderful!
Din said gleefully.
They are falling for my trap.
He watched the land creatures roar into view. He fiddled with some buttons, and the creatures disappeared. In their place was Thor. David gasped As he saw the creature's disapper, he he then realized it was a trap, but it was too late.
A true tactician.
A bleam shot down as caught the land creatures in a strong tractor beam.
It's just a tractor hauling them away.
And what's the difference between a bleam and a beam?
Bleam is a road for the tractor beam to drive back towards
Got it.
the
Ship. That tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Then they disappeared with David and Crista still in them.
Awkward.
They were transported to a platform, and David and Crista were hit over the head and dragged to a holding cell. When David woke up, it was pitch black in their cell. He rubbed his head and found a bump the size of a tennis ball. It's a fairly large bump, David. I'm a little concerned.
Baby Art watched a lot of cartoons.
He fiddled with... You would never know. He fiddled with his watch, and a beam of light pierced the darkness of the cell. Crista, now awake, got the idea and turned on her light. Clever girl.
Yeah.
That's not in the text, that's just my note. They could now see a platform. Then the room light up as the fiery Din walked into the room.
Knows how to make an entrance.
Yeah.
Well, well, well. What have caught in my trap? Nothing but a couple of do-gooders. Who are you, and what do you want?
David demanded.
I am Din, the Distroyer, conqueror of worlds. I will soon destroy this puny planet.
It's funny. It's funny.
Sorry. I will soon destroy this punny planet. And destroy the Lightning Rangers.
He finished in a roar.
Oh, and by this I decided that I should let you see some old friends.
Why does your villain say bye the bye?
I don't know. Isn't that how people talk?
It's how old people talk.
Well, Din is very old.
With that, Din pushed a button and out stepped Thor and L.R. Hogg. Come on, I can't even say Razor Hogg.
No, I was tired.
They seemed very glad to see them. Oh, it's a reunion. How sweet.
I'll take Thor.
David whispered to Crista. He got up and ran at Thor. He jumped and lunged. Thor threw David over his head and shot him with a lightning bolt.
Ouch.
David was smashed against the wall with the impact. Things were not going too well. L.R. Hogg... No, I'm not going to do it. Razor Hogg! I like saying it. Was very glad to see Crista. He now had Crista on the run. When Crista tried to block his lasers, he laughed and taunted. His lasers were now Refect Prof.
They now teach a whole class on how not to destroy their creator. It's very advanced.
She got hit with a laser and got smashed on the ground. When she fell, her watch got pushed. The screen disappeared, and a laser beam shot out of the watch. It collided with Razor Hogg's laser, and a flash of brilliant light appears. Now, 2 laser beams hit Razor Hogg at the same time. He disappeared. Oh, look at that, you added the...
Again, typo. Don't call it out.
David, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky. Thor seemed unbeatable. He matched every hit with a stronger one. Din was watching the show with great amusement. How often could you control what happened to your enemies? Now, to him it was a great game. Din gave a flick of his wrist, and 10 Clawdares appeared. Clawdares! Clawdares are big, ugly brutes. They have 2 heads. Every head has 1 big eye. Clawdares have 4 arms, and each arm has 10 fingers. No hands, though. Just arms and fingers. I highly, highly recommend anyone who feels so inclined to please draw what you think a Clawdare looks like. We tried this last time. It was a real challenge.
There's more.
There's more. Now, each Clawdare held a laser gun and an axe laser gun. They also have 2 Tyrannosaurus-type feet. Their feet, are huge and spiked.
Mm-hmm.
The bodies resembled a living porcupine.
Instead of a dead one.
This would be very different. Just one problem, they could shot the spikes. Is that the only problem with the Clawadares?
I mean, they're not great at hugs.
They also had huge wings. The wings had hands inside and spiked tips.
Mm-hmm.
So just like...
No fingers, though.
No fingers. More like paws. So far, the Clawadares were undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Thor grinned an evil grin and flew up to where Din was standing. They could let the Clawadares do the dirty work. You might think they would have started with this, but the Clawadares... Wait. Oh, yes, you did change this.
Yeah, I can't maintain that kind of language.
The Clawadares spread out and crouched down low. David backed up to where Crista was standing. He quietly swiped Crista what appeared to be a stick with buttons.
Blue, Bhutan's sword. Yellow, Bhutan's whip. I'll explain later.
How much explanation does that require?
Where they came from? Where he was hiding them? I mean, the suits don't have pockets.
David whispered in Critta's ear. He then ran out to where Clawdare were standing and pressed the blue button. A long gleaming sword appeared. The Clawdares immediately surrounded him. David spun around in a circle, slicing with his sword away the laser guns. A Clawdare took a swing with his axe at David. David blocked with his sword. When they were still locked, the Clawdare shot a spike at David. The spike dug in deep into David's side. David fell with exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
Just as the Clawdare raised his axe to finish David off, Crista pressed the yellow button. What has she been doing all this time?
Taking notes.
I see. A long snake-like whip came out, and Crista flicked her wrist, and the axe went flying out of the Clawdare's hand.
I think it's very important not to read into the text at all, especially in a scene like this. We shouldn't wonder to ourselves why David instinctively went for the sword while Crista went for a snake-like whip.
No.
That's not important.
No.
It's just what's on the page that's important.
I'm a little unclear, speaking of what's on the page. So there was a snake-like whip, but Crista flicked her wrist, and then the axe went flying out of the Clawdare's hand. There's no actual connection.
You don't need to write every detail.
Does it?
The reader is smart.
Did
Let
it
the
hit
reader
the hand?
assume.
Did it hit the...
Obviously hit the sword.
It hit the sword.
Look, Din watched for the movement.
Look, I'm just trying to invest myself. Din watched with amusement. You actually spelled it right.
Uh-huh.
As the Lightning Rangers struggled to stay alive. Din took a deep breath. Today was turning out to be a very good day. David was still struggling to get the spike out of his side. Seems
gruesome.
Crista was having trouble keeping the Clawdares off of David. Finally, Din saw in horror David yanked the spike out of his side and then, bled out like that. David stood, and almost immediately a huge foot kicked him down. The Clawdare looked out at him with hate. Din sighed. Today was a good day, indeed.
Well,
so that's the end of that chapter.
What a cliffhanger.
What a cliffhanger.
Yeah. I like how many emotions Din brings to the proceedings.
He is definitely the only one who seems to have them.
Yeah. I mean, he takes up so much emotion space in the room.
I also think it's important to note that I'm not sure Crista's spoken.
Let's not read into that either. Anyway, thanks for tuning in once again. Next time we will be reading Clawdares and Thor, just in case you're curious what kind of characters might feature in the next chapter.
I mean, I know that sounds a lot like what we just read, but it will be different.
Very different. This is more creature focused.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Clawdares
they're fun.
Okay.
Hope to see you again soon.